I used to sit down in my studio, full of ideas, really inspired, ready to make something great. But the second I opened up my door, I'd load all my plugins, grab all my gear, and try to build a song from scratch. And it just wouldn't come together. My flow had gone and I was struggling to make any decent music. But then someone gave me one piece of advice which changed everything. They said stop trying to use everything. Just start with one instrument and a simple loop. So I stripped it back, minimal setup, minimal layers, and suddenly my music started to flow again. I was writing faster, coming up with better ideas, and also just enjoying the process. And the best part, the first track I made with this approach, I just got it signed to a record label that I've been wanting to work with for a while. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what's in my minimal studio setup, why it works for me, and how it really helped me to start finishing songs again. And here's how it might help you too. Less gear means fewer decisions, more creative flow, lower cost, and you can make music anywhere. This is my setup in the studio, and this is what it looks like when I'm on the go. So let me talk you through each item and the reason they still hold a place in my minimal studio. But just a quick note, I make electronic music, but this minimal studio concept can be used across any genre. I've had no sponsorship in this video for any of these products, but I have added some affiliate links below. So if you do want to look into purchasing any of these bits of equipment, you can hit those links. There's no extra cost to you, but I do gain a little bit of commission. Thank you so much for supporting this channel. Let's get stuck in. The first thing is obviously my laptop and DAW. I use Ableton Live. I know a lot of people like to switch between DAWs or always make sure they got the most updated version. And while it is good to keep your tech updated, I like to remind myself that some of the best songs in history were made on gear that now would be classed as outdated. So for me, I'm still on the Ableton Live 11. There is a version 12 out there, but honestly, this is home for me for now. Next up is a pair of studio headphones. I use a pair of these DT990 Pro open back headphones. I don't use speaker monitors because then I'd have to soundproof my whole room. And honestly, I know so many producers that make great music just on using some headphones. You can also get these little stands for them just to keep your studio organized. An audio interface is also what you need for any monitors or headphones. I use this Focusrite Scarlett. It's just clean audio in and out. Try not to overthink this one. You don't need anything fancy, just something reliable and affordable. And when I'm producing on the go, I literally just use some little earphones. These are just some Skullcandy earbuds. And I mainly use them when I'm sketching new ideas, not really for mixing. Because in the ideas stage, you don't really need the perfect mix. You just need to capture that spark, and these make it really easy to get started anywhere, anytime. Let me know in the comments, have you ever used earbuds to start a song? Honestly, they're a game changer, especially if you're like me and you've got a baby or other responsibilities. If I'm monitoring her sleep, sometimes I can grab my laptop, put my earbuds in, and create a loop ready to expand on in the studio later. Okay, I also have one Midi keyboard. That's it, just the one. I use this quite a lot in the ideas phase. It lets me write chords, build melodies, or control my synths. But that's all I use it for. You've probably seen other producers have their studios filled with synths and keyboards and instruments, literally wall-to-wall synths. And that is really cool and it could look great as part of their brand. But that amount of equipment will cost so much money, and I wouldn't even know what to do with half of it. So this one keyboard just does everything I need in that respect. If I had loads of different types of keyboards, that would just cost more money and more mental effort. I do, however, sometimes use one of these little nano controllers. And this is great for real-time tweaks, filter sweeps, automating effects, and just keeping things feeling a little bit more natural. Sometimes I even close my eyes, play the track from start to finish, and just record in the automations in real time. It lets my ears lead instead of my eyes. What's also great about both of these is they're small and they're very portable. So if you did want to get creative on the go, then these are really good for that. But none of this would be possible without a little hard drive. I have this really lightweight Samsung one and everything lives in here. My backups, samples, project files, and DAW templates. It keeps my laptop clear and I can take it with me if I'm working from somewhere else. Okay, before we jump in the door, I want to show you one last bit of studio equipment. It's a really simple egg timer. This is a 30-minute timer, and I use it to limit my sessions to help me focus. It's also less distracting than a phone timer, so I like to use this instead. If you think an egg timer is a good idea, then hit that like button. I really appreciate all your support, and it really helps me to keep making videos like this. Okay, now that we've covered the studio space, let's now take a deep dive inside the DAW. So in terms of synths, there's two main ones that I use. Serum for clean, modern sounds, and Diva for more warm, analog textures. They're perfect for the melodic house style that I make, and I've really tried to learn how to use them properly. I did used to get caught up in chasing new synths, but now these cover about 95% of what I need. And for the last 5%, I usually just search on Splice and try and find what I need. Speaking of Splice, this is where I get most of my sounds. I have a monthly subscription, but I also use their rent-to-own option for Serum, and this helped a lot, so keep an eye out for those kind of deals. And if I ever want more sounds outside of Splice, then I just grab some sample or preset packs from producers that I like, so I'd recommend having a look at that kind of thing too. So now let's look at some non-instrument related plugins. In my opinion, Ableton's built-in tools are so underrated. The compressor, EQ, saturation, reverbs, delays, they all work really well, and I'm sure it's the same in other DAWs too. I'd personally rather go deep into learning a couple of tools, rather than messing around with 20, 30 different ones. This is a much cheaper approach as well, because they're already built into the DAW that you've already paid for. And on a cost-saving note, I know free plugins always sound good, but actually I find it quite rare to find ones that really helped improve my workflow. So that's why I only really use 2 free plugins, but they've earned their spot in my studio studio. That's Span for frequency analysis and Youlean for loudness metering. Both sit on my master chain in every project, but these two plugins are very widely used and really helpful, so they're definitely worth picking up for free. In terms of paying for plugins, I've bought Soothe. Soothe really helps clean up harsh frequencies in the mix. It's subtle but really effective, especially on vocals and leads. And the biggest purchase I probably made for a plugin was Neutron 4, but it came with a purpose. So I'd already signed a few tracks to a record label and had a song played on BBC Radio 1 without using Neutron. So my mixes were okay, they just took me a long time to do. Neutron 4 helped speed up that process for me, and it got me to where I could already get to, but just a lot quicker. I use its AI mixing suggestions on buses, but one of the main reasons I got it was for its unmasking feature. It uses AI to help clear space between competing elements, without me having to search for those elements myself with an EQ. It's not essential, but for me it made my mixing process a lot smoother, and I also used the Splice rent to own for this too. So that's it, that's my full setup in the studio and on the go. Every piece of equipment has its purpose, so having a minimal studio isn't just to look cool, it's minimal because for me it works, and I think it could work for you too. For me, this was the first step for regaining focus in the studio, but the second step was looking at how I started to make a song. So next time we're going to jump back in the door and I'm going to show you how to start making a minimal loop and show you how that can form the basis of your entire track. Don't forget to subscribe or drop us a comment. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next time.